There's so many great things that follow Tyson Fury. I mean, the entertainer that man is, the embracing of the entertainment. It's the worst thing you can do, but I never judge somebody for it when they let us see behind the curtain because it is so wildly hard, and sometimes the character you're playing, you're so disgusted with. No matter how well it's doing at the box office, you just have to let somebody know. I'm reading lines. So-and-so told me to say that, whatever it is. I don't like it. The greats, the trues, will take it to their grave, and you will never know which way. But I'm getting pretty critical, and I have to get pretty critical to find anything about Tyson Fury, the competitor, or the entertainer that I don't like. It'd be hard for me. Hey, Chael, give me a list. What are your 5 favorite things about Tyson Fury? And I would be challenged because I got to put the boxing in there somewhere. I'm for sure going to put him singing. And the fact that he sings his version of a love song, but he sings it to his old lady, I like that. I like a guy that likes his wife. That somewhere over time became an uncool thing. A guy taking his wedding ring off and hitting the club, that became more of the norm. I like a guy that likes his wife. Now, I would disagree. I don't know. It's a love song, but I know he thinks it is because he's a big lummox. And she doesn't have much of a higher education. At any rate, they have this moment. But I couldn't get to either of those moments if it wasn't for his boxing. So I would have to put that in there. That's the only way that I even discovered the serenade and found out that lovely gal has been with him through the good and the bad. When they didn't know what they were going to eat at night, she was by his side. I love that. And I love that he serenades to her. But I would be remiss on a top 5 favorite things about Tyson Fury list if I didn't bring up the old man. The old man has made millions of dollars being a character. The old man loves these boys to such an extent, and he knew he wanted them to box. He named Tyson Fury after Mike Tyson. The old man was a pugilist, was not blessed with the greatest DNA. And at the time that the old man came up, whoever had the best DNA went on and made the most money. It was the actual best boxer. And I know they tell you things so that you don't go throw yourself off a bridge about anybody that wants it hard enough. And if anybody can get anything if they're willing to work hard enough, DNA determines whether you get to be a world champion or if you're immediately disqualified from being a world champion. So somewhere after the old man's career, somewhere in the last 3 or 4 years, largely through observing his son, he was a father that was humble enough to learn from his own son, but he realized how important that character can be. And he took it, and he did it. He did it for Will. He did it for the brother. But he made him millions of dollars. Will Fury might be getting a rematch with Jake Paul. He might be. I'm not huge on it, but I don't have a lot better of an idea. And he will get that the same way that he got the first one, and the same one that the monetization of the first one came, which was from his old man. The old man doesn't go and hold Tyson's hands on stage at press conferences, but he's there with him. He comes to training camp. Even when he quit holding the mitts, he'd sit there in the front row and he would just support his little boy. And the old man also is no longer the trainer for Will Fury Jr. But he does hold his hand on stage. And he holds his hand because he does the only thing a father should. I am behind you. And I am going to do the best that I can to catch you when you fall. He knew where the shortcomings were. And Will was also aware as to why Jon, the old man, was on the stage with him, holding his hand. Having questions come up, snatching them right out of Will's mouth and answering them himself. And Will never felt stepped on. He never felt that he was being slighted. He brought the old man up there to do just that. And the old man got into some great back and forth with Jake Paul, which led to I think it was a $2 million. I think it was it might have been $5 million bet prior to the fight that went his son's way, and a debt that Jake, who wasn't completely sincere about it, looked at and said, well, if that's really what you think, and Jake gave him the millions of dollars. I can't remember what that number was. It was either 2 or 5. And the only reason Jake didn't pay it right away is he was not sincere with the comment. But the Fury boys, whether hustling or not, claim that they thought it was a bargain. And Jake just to not have that out on the street wrote him the check. So, I mean, I can directly quantify millions of dollars to this old man. That's my point. Getting the fight was because of the old man. Getting paid after the fight was because of the old man. Perhaps going to get this fight one more time is because of the old man. Tyson Fury has left behind the old man. Do you like that? That makes me sad. Now, I'm going to trust and I'm going to get into a place. And a little bit about the old man. He's a drinker. But I haven't seen evidence that he's a drunk. What do you mean, Chael? Well, I haven't heard evidence like the old man goes out on a nightly basis and ties one on. Or even if he's at home alone, he ties one on. I do have fact and evidence that when he goes out to perform, because he's not comfortable ripping his shirt off and screaming at kids half his age, he's not comfortable pounding his chest. One time he even headbutted something. Do you remember that? It was this poor little guy didn't deserve it, and he headbutted him as part of the show, and he got the worst of it, and he's cracked his head open, and he's bleeding everywhere. He's not comfortable doing those things. He just knows the importance and the success that those things can bring to his sons, and he's just trying to serve his sons. So, in those occasions, many times, he'll have some shots before he goes into the performance. All right. I want to get all that out because Tyson has walked away from everybody, and it's the only way to not hurt somebody's feelings. The only way you can go into lockdown, you can go into isolation. Rocky, parts 1 through 5. The only way he could leave Adrian is he had to leave the little brat too. Or the only way that he could leave the wife is he had to leave the little brat, right? Surely he would have wanted one of them with him. Surely one of them would have been mature enough, but now I'm going to hurt somebody else's feelings, so you're all staying back, and we're going on with this isolation, which of course is not totally isolated. I need teammates. I need trainers. We'd like to eat some food. Somebody's going to cook the food. Okay, well, the cook can come. The cook said they want an assistant. I don't have anything to do with it. I probably won't even visit with them, but go ahead and bring an assistant. But all of a sudden, isolation isn't isolated. You're just not coming. Which was the goal anyway. And I don't know which of the bunch Fury was trying to get around. And I don't understand it. I don't understand that concept. I love the idea that I'm a fighter and this is who I am. I will die in the ring. I love this conceptually. Wanted to be one. I set out to be one of these things. These statements were said by guys that I thought were really cool guys. And then I found out how many times a day you train, which in a really, really, really hard situation is 2. And in the hardest of situations is for no reason ever more than 2. There is no training camp on God's earth that's 3 times a day. It's 2. And there are some days that are off completely, and there's some days that are not 2, they're 1. And you start looking at the time of those training camps, right? When you get everybody together, you get the group together, then there's more guys. It's not as Not as isolated, gonna be a little longer. You got warm up, you got cool down, but let's just call that 2 hours. For the top guys, it's gonna come in more about an hour and 50 minutes. But then your secondary workout, right? That's the one where you can't have the team. You can't get any better if you're doing it as a team. Because the part where you're taking the time to get better and sacrifice, that's where mentally you convince yourself you've earned it because you're the only one doing it. So now if you have a team there and you're all in there jumping rope and they're jumping more ropes than you, or you're running stairs and they're getting up there faster than you, or you're benching the weights and they're doing more reps than you, your confidence does not grow, it goes down. So that private workout where no one's around, just you and the coach, and that lasts for less than an hour a day. So we got one that's just a little shy of 2 hours, and we got one that's just a little shy of an hour. Now we got 21 hours in the day that we got to fill. And that's where the concept and the idea of training camps start to become a problem. If there is anything distracting you or in your way during that 2-hour session or that 1-hour session, you do need to have the discipline to get it out of there. Telephones, TVs, radios, what have you. Some teammate that just won't shut the F up, but I don't ever see those things. I've never been in a practice room that had a TV. I've never listened to a radio that wasn't playing the right kind of song that we wanted for the environment. I never thought about practicing. Couldn't get the remote control in my hand while my glove was on. Like, those things weren't in there. Even my hot-ass wife, Brittany, who I would rather speak to than do anything else I've ever learned of doing, she would not interrupt me while I was training. So the idea of going into isolation, it's a very unique thing. First off, none of them are isolated. And secondly, who is it that was the distraction? Who's the one that would answer the phone and then bring it to the ring and say, here, I'll push speaker, your Nana really has to say hi? Which one of them does that? Because which one of them that was that doesn't follow basic gym etiquette, got the whole darn lot of them pushed to the side. And then when you talk about isolation, I'm fully focused and I'm fully training. Well, I don't know. I've seen you. I've seen you out. I've seen you in a suit that's got like 9 different colors and a matching top, and it cuts just right and it shows the hair chest. I don't think you were just sitting around the cabin in that. I think you put that on because you knew there were cameras there, which comes back to this isolation part. And if you were isolated, should we mean that to be no television? No television. You got 3 hours a day you work out. That gives you 21 hours a day of absolutely doing nothing. And I can't imagine that you're on the phone with the wife and the kid. If it's okay to talk to the wife and kid when you're not at practice, you could have just brought the wife and kid and just had them not come over to practice. Isolation, huh? I don't want to question it. Someone in that Fury clan, right, pissed in the whole punch bowl. So one of them brought them all down. All right. Usyk, meanwhile, what does Usyk have? Who does he have around him that Fury doesn't? Because Usyk said he's sleeping in the same bed. And Usyk said he never sleeps alone. I believe he's married, but I'm just telling you what the quote was. When Usyk goes out to dinner, he doesn't like to eat alone. He likes when people come. That's why he has company. That's why he has supporters. When things are hard and he's got to get through. And the only person to stop him from putting his shoes on and going to do it, because no one else will know, because no one's around for Fury, the only person that would know for Usyk, he wants them there to make sure he puts the shoes on and he stays accountable. Now, these are both wonderful fighters. These are both champions. These guys are both will be studied from both ends. Whether you're fan or foe or you're a fan or a foe, both will study these guys for generation. But eventually, when you're studying them, you are going to come down to their second fight. You're going to find one leading a normal life while getting to practice 2 times a day and putting his full focus there. You're going to see one of them leading an abnormal life, allegedly going to 2 practice twice a day, but we didn't have any witnesses to actually confirm if that did happen. And if you dig into this thing too much like a detective, you're going to come to the same conclusion. One of them told you the truth, and one of them lied to you because they thought the story was better. And the one of them that lied to you packed a suit that has 8 different colors for TMZ to snap at just the right time when being in isolation, except they're lying and they didn't isolate. They just found their wife and kid to be annoying.